Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are welcome to another period of our online chemistry class for the 7th week. Today we shall round up our discussion on carbon 4 oxide. Today we're going to look at the use of carbon 4 oxide, the processes which liberate carbon 4 oxide into the atmosphere, and the processes which removes carbon 4 oxide from the atmosphere. To start with, use of carbon 4 oxide. What are the use of carbon 4 oxide? 1. Carbon 4 oxide is used as fire extinguisher. Carbon 4 oxide is an active ingredient used in fire extinguisher because carbon 4 oxide does not support combustion. The reason why carbon 4 oxide is used in the production of fire extinguisher is that CO2 or carbon 4 oxide does not support combustion. If there is fire outbreak and fire extinguisher containing CO2 is applied, CO2, carbon 4 oxide, being heavier than air, it envelopes the burning material and cut off the oxygen supply. So in your final exam, you may be asked to give the reason why carbon 4 oxide is used as fire extinguisher. The answer is that it is used as fire extinguisher because it does not support combustion. Being heavier than air, it envelops the burning materials and cut off the oxygen supply. Number 2 of the uses of carbon 4 oxide. Carbon 4 oxide give carbonated drinks their refreshing taste. Carbonated drink or heated drink such as beer, champagne, Coca-Cola, and so on. CO2 is used to preserve their taste. It means carbon 4 oxide give heated drinks or carbonated drinks their refreshing taste. Number 3, carbon 4 oxide present in yeast and baking powder causes the dough to rise and light. It means carbon 4 oxide is also used in bakery because it's present in yeast and baking powder and it makes the dough to rise and light. 4. Carbon 4 oxide is used in making some chemicals such as washing soda, urea, etc. Carbon 4 oxide is one of the important raw material used in making washing soda or urea and any other thiocarbonate 4. Number 5. Solid carbon 4 oxide, that is dry ice, is used as refrigerant for perishable goods, e.g. ice cream. The processes which liberate carbon 4 oxide into the atmosphere. So one of the processes which produces the carbon 4 oxide into the atmosphere is respiration of living organism. Respiration is the breaking down of glucose in our body to produce energy, carbon 4 oxide, and water. So as a result of respiration of the living organism, CO2 is produced or liberated into the atmosphere. Number 2 is combustion of substances like methane, petrol, wood, coal, charcoal, and so on. So during combustion of any substance, CO2 is being released into the atmosphere. Number 3, decaying of organic material. Organic material like the plant leaves, human body, and so on, when decay, CO2 is also released into the atmosphere. Number 4, heating of thiocarbonate 4 or hydrogen thiocarbonate 4. Thiocarbonate 4 such as limestone, calcium thiocarbonate 4, copper thiocarbonate 4, silver thiocarbonate 4, except that of sodium thiocarbonate 4 or potassium thiocarbonate 4. When undergo decomposition by the application of heat, CO2 is being liberated. Or any hydrogen thiocarbonate 4 such as sodium hydrogen thiocarbonate 4, potassium hydrogen thiocarbonate 4, calcium hydrogen thiocarbonate 4, when undergo decomposition by the application of heat, CO2 is also being released into the atmosphere in that aspect. Number 5 of the processes which liberate CO2 into the atmosphere is the volcanic eruption, the eruption of volcano. Number 6 is the fermentation of carbohydrates. Fermentation is another process which liberates CO2 into the atmosphere. Fermentation is the enzymatic breaking down of sugar or carbohydrates to produce ethanol or CO2. So CO2 is the byproduct of fermentation. So during fermentation process, CO2 is also being released or liberated into the atmosphere. These are the 6 processes which liberate CO2 into the atmosphere. Processes which remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Number 1, photosynthesis in plants. Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants manufacture their food through light and CO2. So during photosynthesis, when the sunlight is required, also CO2 is also required. So during photosynthesis, CO2 is being used up. CO2 is being used up during photosynthesis. So this is one of the processes which remove CO2 from the atmosphere. Number 2, carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere when dissolved in rainwater or natural water bodies. So when the CO2 present in the atmosphere, when dissolved in rainwater or when dissolved in natural water body, CO2 is being removed from the atmosphere. The last point here is that carbon dioxide is also absorbed by chemical like alkali. So when carbon dioxide come in contact with any chemical called alkali like caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, lime water and so on, they will absorb carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is also absorbed by chemical like alkali. Alkali is CO2 absorber. So these are the 3 points or 3 processes which remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We are going to stop here. Inshallah, in our next class, we are going to look at the another oxide of carbon, that is carbon dioxide. So you are being advised to check your portal for your weekly assignment. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.